What's up YouTube? My name is Birdman778 and welcome to a Borderlands 3 build video. Today I'm showcasing probably what is like my crown jewel build, the only thing that anybody knows me for. Some people mock me for, yet they also realize that this might be the best pistol Zane build ever. Probably not, but we're at least going to say it because it's on YouTube, so it must be true. And you know what's also true? You should be following this channel.
True, and yeah, that's pretty true.
Make sure you're hitting that like button, hitting that sub as well. We're growing here on YouTube. Hopefully we can jump into some Borderlands content on here and get some traction. But regardless, know that we're also over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Birdman778. I stream every single day between like 10 to noon. I'll start up stream, and then we go for about 4-ish hours from there. I've been playing Borderlands, some Outriders. We've got some Tribes Midgard coming up here soon. Back for Blood in the Horizon. Lots of good content to come from that, but also find me over on Twitter, twitter.com/Birdman778. Let's jump straight into this build. Let me show you exactly why Moonman Zane will take you to the moon. So Moonman Zane is kind of one of those builds that I had rolling for a while pre-DLC 5. I had tried it out a couple times. We had actually done a 1.0 version of this build where it really utilized clone, but after DLC 5 we had the creation of the Mantis Cannon, essentially Zane getting these constant ASE elements available for him. So we were able to essentially push the boundaries of this character because we're able to constantly activate those ASEs or ASSs because of Mantis Cannon being a great start and stop skill. Now, the Moonfire is the main weapon of this build, and the reason why it's the main weapon of this build because I love the reference behind it. The Moonfire, actually, if you hover over it and you look at the red text, says, "Meet your destiny." This is actually a reference to the Hawk Moon, which is a Destiny legendary hand cannon. The legendary hand cannon for that, essentially the last bullet of the mag does extra damage versus the Moonfire, which is every 3 shots has that amped damage shot, which I absolutely love about this gun. It's got a really great weapon damage, great hit, crit damage. It's a perfect pistol, and it's also a torque pistol. Torque pistols have been mainly shown to be more of a almost like rocket explosion shooting out. I always think like the Unkempt Herald, where it's got like the split projectiles, versus this where it's more of a, again, critical shot piercing round. I use 4 different versions of this on this build. I use a corrosive, a radiation, a cryo, and a shock, all having different variations of ASC on it. One of them I got ASC cryo, ASC cryo, ASC corrosive, and then the final one is also ASC cryo. As you can tell, cryo is an important part of this build. It mainly goes around the idea of cryo being just a great element for armor or skin, flesh enemies, so I like to use it a lot, and I mainly use this cryo Moonfire the most. I use the corrosive on it as well just because armor enemies tend to be very difficult in this game, so having something that's able to pierce through that damage is really advantageous for us. One of the best parts about this build is actually us updating the shield for it with the Revolter. The Revolter was introduced in DLC 6. Before we were using like a Beskar or a Madcap, essentially trying to go for something more defensive, while the Revolter is going to be much more of an offensive shield because of the fact that when depleted or whenever the shield breaks, you are charged with extra shock damage. You're able to do more shock damage for about 15 seconds. Now, with having the ASS element and using Mantis Cannon, we're able to constantly activate that, so making sure we're constantly having that extra shock damage. Essentially, this and the Super Soldier have become kind of the crutch shields, I feel like, for essentially what might be the rest of the duration of Borderlands because of the fact that they're able to do so much damage and kind of fit that niche of like the B shield in a way. Actually, the Revolter is a better B shield because of anointments and because of that ASS element. And it's kind of a reverse B shield. The fact that depletion makes you do more damage is funny. But again, we decided to add it on this build because, again, being able to do more damage with the Moonfire is always going to be something advantageous for us. Something we have also swapped onto is the Executioner Zane Calm. Now, this one is going to give us extra crit damage, accuracy, handling, status effect damage, to status effect chance when kill skill activation goes through. Now, when we go to our skill tree, I'll be able to explain that a little bit better, but just know we'll be able to constantly get that because of our Mantis Cannon. But on this one, I have weapon crit, action skill cooldown rate, and this one says Hyperion weapon crit. Unfortunately, I haven't been using a save editor or anything like that to change this off. So obviously something like either pistol damage, torque weapon damage, something of that nature where it's going to give us a little bit more of a boost would be more advantageous. Also, I think the action skill cooldown rate's fine, the weapon crit's fine. Essentially just things that are going to fit that niche of a little bit more damage is something you should go for. We also have a Merv Hex on this. Essentially, this is just for that ASE extra rad damage. You can pretty much swap this off for whatever you want, but I, again, mainly am using this Cryo one with the ASE Corrosion, so getting that extra ASE rad is something that I think is important to use. And finally, we have the Torgue Company Man. Now, you're going to get this from Hemovorus. It's going to be one of the class mods that they drop, but this one is going to give us fire rate, magazine size, and critical damage for Torgue weapons, that being the Moonfire. This one also has area of effect damage, shock damage, and mag size. So again, it's going to really help us out. And then again, the Torgue Company Man, it's like ability, is 50% of the cash you pick up is invested in the company's stock. Cash outs occur after the 10th kill. Unclaimed stock is lost on the map transition or unequipped. You really don't need that. You're going for more of the bonuses up top than anything else. So going through our skill tree, you can notice that we're pretty much just going into purple, green, and blue. Let's start off with green tree, where we're going to be using that barrier as part of this build. Definitely get that equipped on there. I'd put 5 points in adrenaline, making sure that we're constantly keeping up that awesome action skill cooldown rate. This is mainly going to benefit the Mantis Cannon versus the shield. You're not really going to be ever losing your barrier around you, so but even in the off chances that you do lose it in some way, shape, and form, having full shield will make sure that you're constantly getting that up a little bit faster. And to complement that, we're going to ready for action, getting that Zane increase recharge rate for shields and recharge delay. Definitely helpful for you all around. I put 3 points in a brain freeze, mainly because after this most recent patch to the added cartels and all the great events, we got 7 extra points to put in our tree, making us go to level 72. And I'm kind of just don't know where to put it. Zane kind of at 65 was at his peak apex, and being at 72, you kind of have 7 points of just like free laissez-faire ones to use. So I decided to put a couple points into there. I couldn't really find a reason to put in other items to get us really big of a benefit versus brain freeze, where we're now getting 12% chance that every time we shoot someone in the head that they'll end up freezing or slowing because of that. And when it comes to the augments, we're using charged relay and the all-rounder. All-rounder is mainly the one that you use. You can use pretty much either of these if you want nanites or some shite, or you can use charged relay, but regardless, just make sure you're getting all-rounder. Helps keep your back nice and pretty. When it comes to the purple tree, we're absolutely going Mantis Cannon. I was mentioning that before and how important that is for this build. But we're going to go 5 points into pretty much everything throughout the tree, or we're pretty much maxing out everything. Things that I think that you should concentrate the most on: headsman hand for the extra crit damage, commitment, so you're getting that extra gun damage and cooldown rate on your items, using domino effect for reload speed and fire rate. Fire rate is actually really important for this gun. You could like absolutely just like fire the hell out of it because of abilities like this. I wouldn't full points into Shiro again, because we just kind of have these just laissez-faire points to use. So essentially making sure that we're getting extra cooldown rate when we're getting critical hits and the duration, and we're getting higher stacks because of that. Eraser is the most important probably piece of this entire tree, just purely off the fact that we're getting essentially that increased critical hit damage and piercing damage. So shooting an enemy in the head and then an enemy's right behind him, that enemy behind him is going to take even more damage from that. You will notice sometimes whenever I'm like fighting a Mal 1 takedown, I go fight the first Kraken, I will intentionally angle myself in a way that I'm able to shoot one of the just regular Mal 1 guys in the head, and then when it hits that Kraken in the back, boom, explodes. Really awesome effect. And then definitely going to our man Flint, just so you're getting that bonus damage and the stats effect on top of that as well. In Blue Tree, I kind of mentioned before that there's some abilities in here that kind of help us constantly keep up those kill skills, and that's in the Blue Tree itself. The biggest one of those is Seeing Red. Seeing Red will constantly make sure that you're able to activate your action skills, your kill skills, while activating an action skill. So that being your Mantis Cannon, you're going to be constantly activating that, making sure that you're always having those kill skills going. The Blue Tree is an absolute must. You need to max out pretty much everything here if you want. Only 1 point needed in Salvation. That's only all the life steal you really need for that. I always max out violence. You don't have to max out playing dirty if you want. You can move those points around, but because we have a smaller mag with this and we are going to be constantly getting either kills or activating our kill skills, we're always going to have just more bullets to shoot because of this. The class mod we're currently using has all the points in Good Misfortune, so I only put 1 extra point into that. It's not really necessary, but it's pretty much whatever you want. And we went into plenty of points into Cool Hand, another one that you can kind of swap around if you want. If you want to put a couple points in Cold War, absolutely go for that. But this is kind of what I feel the most comfortable with. When it comes to the Guardian perks, we kind of have a lot here to kind of go through. Essentially, when you're at this point in the game, if you're in end game, you're gonna have all of this maxed out. There are some abilities in there that are important, but that's pretty much coming up to you if you want to use this or not, or like concentrate on this or not. But no, for the most part, if you're at this point, you're playing end game builds and stuff, you more likely have this already maxed the hell out. Thanks for stopping on by this build. I appreciate everyone showing support. For me, kind of returning to Borderlands in a way. I've been kind of away playing Outriders, doing some other content like that, but getting to come on back because of the Cartels event that's currently out. It's a free update. Gives you that 7 extra points to your skill trees, and unlocked all the seasonal events. So Bloody Harvest, Valentine's Day event, and Cartels are always available to you now, no matter what. It's super awesome. So essentially, we have all these like pieces of gear that are locked behind content essentially unlocked for us. So even if you don't have DLCs, homies, you still have a lot to do because of the free takedowns we've gotten, and now all these seasonal events being unlocked. This is probably the best time to be in Borderlands, and I'm just excited to be a part of this wonderful community. Make sure you're stopping on by my Twitter, by the way, giving me any gas you can there. Twitch.tv/Birdman778. Again, we're starting between 10 and noon every single day. Just pretty much stop on by. Stop the night before, figure out what I'm doing there. I'll let you know. And then obviously any support you can show here on YouTube is always appreciated. youtube.com/Birdman778. Oh my gosh. Thank you everybody so much for stopping on by. I hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.